Yalla, infidels, Monday morning locker room live here at Bin Hamin YouTube, Hamin Media Group YouTube channel, infidels. They gave me the Dark Ages. I ran the Dark Ages, Constantine the Great, Henry VIII, built with Genghis Khan, the Red Suede, Wally Dawn, infidels. Hacker Hamin is back, and if it's brown, it's down. Well, it's touchdown, and Ohio's going crazy, infidels, and we're going up big in the first quarter of the week right here, 28-0. It's RBV, Hacker Hamin, and Dr. T's on his way, infidels. Yalla. I see my man Brando first in the live chat here at YouTube. We're going to try and kick it live, man, get this week going the right way. But, man, what an awesome weekend of NFL games, dude. A lot of people really pumped. We had a good time in the Hamin Media discussion group with the new season thing we got going on where we're clocking in and doing pick'em challenges for all sports. But, man, this was a great way to end it up with these NFL playoffs. Good morning. Congratulations to what's going on, man?
Hey, you said it. Celebrating throughout Ohio, especially in northern Ohio, up on the shores of Lake Erie. I was talking to some of my friends last night, early this morning. They were still partying all night. You got to think about this. I mean, for the Browns, what this meant. You know, I lived up there for about 7 years, and I developed this. You know, your heart goes out to these people. You get a connection with them. And one of the most loyal, diehard fan bases in all of sports, the Cleveland Brown fans. But it's been 18 years since they made a playoff appearance. Mm-hmm. It's been 23 years since they won a playoff game. And then a playoff game on the road all the way back to 1969 is the last time they were able to win on the road. To be able to go and do that, not just against anybody, against, the hated Pittsburgh Steelers, right down the road from them. You throw a rock from Cleveland, you can hit Pittsburgh. And those fans are ecstatic. But, hey, that's just the beginning, because tonight the Buckeyes battling for a national championship. It's Bama. It's Ohio State. The OHIO about to go over strong again. One hell of a weekend for football in Ohio. But, hey, Ben, I know you had some action going this weekend. I got in on it, doing some projects with Javit. He talked me into it. I threw some money down. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you coming out. Fuck the Rams.
Rams killed me, man. I'm like, if everything's playing against them, their backup quarterback goes out with a massive neck injury in the first 2 minutes of the game. They bring in their quarterback who just had thumb surgery, and this dude goes to work, man. So fuck those shit Hawks at the end of the day. That's the one game I didn't want to bet on. But then when those type of things start rolling in, you're like, it seems like a safe enough bet. I would have gone 6 for 6, or whatever it was in the picks, right? Yeah, 6 for. So I went 5 for 6, but still, man. And I watched every game, and they were all awesome. To see the Browns, I think that's like one of those Americana stories that we needed right now, those come up stories. I mean, I lived 2 blocks from Wrigley Field for 6 years, so I know the pain of a franchise that the fans are so dedicated and so diehard, and they're just used to losing, but their love is in it. So when something miraculous like this happens, man, it's like the sky's opening up, and it's coming down on you. So it was really great. I know Trina is a big fanatic follower of them and a great wrestling participator and pundit herself. A lot of wrestling fans checking in with Trina De La Suerte last night at Krabby Patty, if you will. But man, she was having a good time, and I know a lot of Ohio fans were too. So just to see that first touchdown off of the kickoff, and then 2 picks, and then they go up 3 more scores of 28-0 in the first, like, that's a shocker, man. I mean, that was just awesome to see. And Pittsburgh tried to battle back. I mean, they got great talent, but I had to I got to third quarter and then my phone rings. Hey, man, can you talk? I pick it up. I was like, sure, Stevie Ray, I can talk to you, because he's a huge Steelers fan. He couldn't, bro. He's like, fuck this game. I got to talk to somebody else. So we talked a little biz, and I'm really excited for this week with Stevie Ray brand. Just awesome videos up already. He did some stuff with passing of Joe Clark. He's got Mickey Gall interview, the JBL interviews up there. Matt just released another one with, forgive me, a very famous boxer.
The trainer, correct?
Yeah, Ronnie Shields is up there as well, and talks about protecting fighters. So Stevie Ray just bringing high level content from UFC. He's got the actress who's on a new movie with Idris Elba. So, this guy is, a superstar unto himself, and he's got the connections to get these great guests. And now the patreon.com/StevieRayTV, twitch.stevie/StevieRayTV, and even just following him on Twitter and YouTube. Plenty of free options, but we've got some unbelievable guests lined up because this guy can score them, man. So I'm excited about it.
I'll tell you what he's got coming up. I'm looking forward to anytime I've heard him speak. Really seems like a humble, just great humanitarian. Mark Marrow, which is always a good look.
Coming up. Yeah, absolutely, dude. So no better time. $3 and $5 tiers, the Fruit Booty and the Slapjack tier. Plus, he's got a daily show with Sonny Ono and a radio show that we're going to be putting up there too. So Stevie Ray TV, just getting out of the blocks, but already awesome content, awesome micro content at YouTube. Go check it out and see for yourself. You want to spend the extra $3 to $5, man. There's going to be
how can we forget the great debate coming up?
Great debate. I was working on the graphic last night. Just got to add a little more copy. He really liked it. So I thanks to all Hamin Media Group artists and producers and laying the groundwork for that. I spent about an hour or two just touching some things up this weekend, and he really liked it. So it's going to be, I guess we can stooge it here. He probably
it's coming up. It's a few days away. So
right. So there is a relationship with Stevie Ray TV and Impact Wrestling, where he is going to be taking some of the hottest feuds from Impact Wrestling and doing the world's most dangerous debate pretty much in between these guys. I mean, that's a dude who's you're not going to cross, Stevie Ray. So I don't care how big you are. Although, you know what I was thinking? I would like to see Stevie Ray versus Moose, possibly. Now that's a big match. But our first one out of the gate, a blood feud that I don't think's ever going to die, bro, to be honest with you. I see these guys actually fighting forever, Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan. So going into Hard to Kill, Media Group, facilitating great superstars like Stevie Ray TV, and now working in conjunction with Impact Wrestling. Just a huge opportunity for us all. And MSG, yourself, Dr. Ted, Colin, everybody is just really, and Big Ray too. We were going to line up those guests for the Impact Attack, but we'd rather get a bigger shine facilitating behind the scenes and let a name like Stevie Ray have that connection instead of, beating it into the ground. Not to say we won't, and we don't have good faith now, but let's shine as brightly as we can. So we're pumped this week. The world's most dangerous debate going down at Stevie Ray TV. So follow us on everything there, you guys.
And that'll be dropping the 14th, correct?
Yes.
So we are just days away, as you said. It's Eddie Edwards, it's Sami Callihan, and it's just this weekend. They're going to be going. You talked about having to be tough as nails. Well, these guys are going into a hardcore match against one another. So they're going to be tested and proven with Stevie Ray there, and then ready to rip into each other over the weekend.
Better them than me. Fuck that hardcore shit. Last time I was in hardcore, I wrapped the chain around my hand and ended up punching the friggin' the ring post, and I thought I broke two of my fingers in the middle of the match. So you can keep all that hardcore shit between those two crazy bastards. I'll just choke somebody out, hit them with a flag from behind at the last minute. Win.
When you get into those that are kind of more adapt to that hardcore style, can you just tell there's something different about them in the locker room?
No, both of those guys.
Is it kind of flip a switch? Kind of.
It is a flip of the switch. It really is the nicest guys in the locker room who go out there and do the craziest shit, bro, because Sammy's just, hey, what's going on, man? And, he's super cool. And Eddie's a really kind of quiet guy, to be honest with you. And then once it goes down out there, they let it all out and get it all in, man. So, I'd fight either of them. They're both a foot shorter than me. So, but these guys have been going at it since 2CW days, bro. And this is a fight that I'm still interested in because these guys bring it every single time. And we'll see if Ohio can go over strong again, on Boston.
We're going to be rooting for them, Ohio versus everything. Yeah. I actually think, I don't know if it was exactly like his first match, but I was there damn near his first match of professional wrestling, Sami Callihan, because, he got to start here at the HWA, trained under Les Thatcher, Cody Hawk. I just to see where he's come through, how he's evolved throughout his career, where he's at now. I mean, back then he was a pudgy little sidekick in what was like a fraternity gimmick. So he was just kind of sidekicking. He was kind of, just the young boy for, Moxley's crew and all that. It's just incredible to see how he's evolved and been able to follow his career.
And he's always on the cusp of knowing what's cool and how to get things done. And he's super easy to work with and do business with. I was pumped to see the hacker gimmick because obviously I do it and live it. And NXT fucked it all up. He actually had me on the side doing some black market creative stuff that would have been phenomenal with WWE production involving Triple H and his Solomon Crow character. Unfortunately, they can fuck up a wet dream 6 ways to Sunday over there. So I was glad to see him reboot that in Impact. They've gotten some value out of it. They went away from it and then they came back to it. So, you know, Sammy just knows what's cool and how to cut the real promo where everybody else is kind of doing wrestling. He's going to call it like in that gray area. That's where he operates. And it's great stuff because Eddie doesn't really need to have to go over the top. He just needs to be driven to psycho level by Sammy's doing. And Eddie's really not the one to drop the pebble in the pond. He's really better at reacting, in my opinion. So interesting to see which way things are going down. They did a kidnap angle and then Shamrocks with Sammy, and they beat the shit out of him while they had Alicia hostage. So it'll be interesting to see which way things go, man.
Certainly looking forward to it. Now, did you pay attention to Impact over the weekend as they had Genesis?
I didn't pay attention to the Genesis. I just had so much going on, man, and so many meetings now.
Well, it's just, I mean, it seemed kind of weird that they were running these events so close to one another.
They've done it twice. They did it where they billboard the pay-per-view, and then they have something of that week before. That's a good model, bro. I think they really need to change that.
Well, this one really seemed the Genesis was more of a special attraction, as it was largely based around the X Cup. We saw that entire tournament play out, and then mixed in there you had a women's match, and then you had Moose and Mac.
Yeah,
in an I Quit match.
That devastating bump through the table on the outside, go to hell or whatever he gave him off the fucking top, and boy, that gravity did not help him there. I'll tell you that much, man. He hit hard.
Was it an I Quit or a Last Man Standing? I gotta look now. I've seen some highlights on it, but
I know I'd fucking quit after that bump. I'll tell you that right now. Fuck that. You win. Good for you.
Yeah, and then seeing Ace Austin go over in the X Division Cup or in the X Cup. So I mean, if that's your cup of tea, if you like that high flying style, I did see the highlight package from the tournament. So it's something that if you're looking for some wrestling, some content to fill viewing hours, and go check it out.
Yeah, there's a couple things though online because that was going on, and then I see Ace Austin's girlfriend, who's a worker. She's the announced chick, right? And she's like, "I'm so proud of this guy," and they're posting pictures by the pool together. I'm thinking to myself, "Calm the fuck on, work your gimmick, please protect it." Not just to get these things in there, because he's done such a great job at introducing himself to the world in the last year and the womanizer thing and all that. I don't want to see him being a nice boyfriend at fucking poolside and shit like that. Stop, you fucking kids. Stop doing all that shit.
That's it. Completely just contradicts everything that he's represented and stood for up to this point. I mean, he's the ultimate womanizer. Manipulator, going to jump at any opportunity. He's going to stab you in the back if he can.
I mean, not that I don't like sexy stuff and that these girls aren't hot, but Ty Conti, fucking blue belt and a black belt in martial arts, going to face Serena Deeb this week on
Dynamite.
I'm super looking forward to it. Flip through this weekend, nothing that I don't want to look at. There she is in some fucking Christmas gear with her legs spread open so you can see her whole camel toe when you do the fucking zoom in on Instagram, specifically a pose specifically for that, to look at my crotch. Okay, you're hot as fuck and we'll look at your crotch all day. But guess what? All that Brazilian jiu-jitsu and shit that I was thinking about you being fucking legit, it's out the window. You're nothing more than look at my box, OnlyFans talent. Like you put all that time in the dojo and you blow it out your ass for an Instagram post. I just can't. And then there's another little girl. She was on Impact too, super hot. I can't remember her name, but she's with Joey Janela, and like here she is posting thirst trap pics and things along those lines instead of like getting yourself over to get a job. These children, they just don't understand the power of social media and the opportunity that they have that should be afforded to 70, 80 other people who would do a lot better with it than they did. But hey, keep getting your box out. We'll keep pinch zooming and everyone will have a fucking good time.
I was going to say, I did see over the weekend, everybody's favorite chief brand officer. She couldn't resist. She was out there showing off the baby bump again. So, Brandy couldn't stay out of the spotlight that long. She had to get out there and show something.
They just can't. They are that dopamine hit, bro, is as almost to them as addictive as if they were mainline heroin addicts. They cannot stop with that fucking phone, bro. They just can't do it.
Well, I think, it's across the board. As you see people in celebrity positions like that, I mean, you go through your timeline, you're getting it from, the bar rack down the street, I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere that you see it.
Yeah, well, that's fine if they're just local trash.
But hey, I love that local trash.
Yeah, if you're on TV and you fucking are one of the very fortunate people let's see, 80. If you're one of the 240 to 300 people who have a spot on TV between NXT, whatever, all the brands, and you're doing that kind of shit, I can name 30 or 40 of them that should be gone just based on that alone, because there's 30 or 40 workers who are probably better than them to start with and will protect the business a little bit more. But it's always the same shit. I love this business, except for look at my snatch real quick and fuck all my business.
the old Snapchat. I think, she doesn't get that much praise. It's easy to kind of vilify her, but it sets the perfect model for maybe how you should represent and act Stephanie McMahon. But she always presents herself as a professional.
Maybe
I agree or disagree with her stances or approach on things, but she carries herself well.
I can't disagree with that, but then again, she's the CEO and she fucking better carry herself well.
Well, it's the same. You got a chief brand officer on the other side, as you're just saying. Before that baby, every week it was bikini ass shots, and
I mean, that's what it is. Like, you want to throw water in Shaq's face and then come out the next week with "I'm pregnant," and now Shaq is just a fucking 7-foot douchebag who can get water thrown in his face with no payoff. Okay. All right. What are we trying to do here, man? No backup plans, none of that. And we can kick it off hot because you have that story about Cody.
I was gonna lead into that thing, and
Go right with it.
Well, as a recent episode of the Jericho podcast, Cody Rhodes was on the show with Jericho, and a few kind of points here. They were talking grading. It's been a little over a year since AEW officially got going. They've been on television. They talked about if Cody had to apply a grade letter to AEW, he was very modest here. Gave himself some wiggle room. He only gave himself an A. He only gave him an A. Said that they still have room to grow to get that A+. But in addition to that, in a spinoff question, they did talk about where AEW might struggle, and he gave that typical, one of our greatest strengths is a weakness, where the talent might have too much freedom, which is the cause for the repetition that we're seeing from storyline to storyline and segments kind of repeating themselves. So he gave them an A overall. They're thriving for that A+. But what one of the things holding them back from hitting that perfect grade is the freedom in that they allow and trust their talents, because they're trying to reinvent everything. They're the rock stars.
If they restrict freedom, they're going to get to that level that they want to. That kind of sounds echoing something else that's going on in society right now. An A. Okay, let me run this down. We'll start in an A+, and then we'll go down the line and detract. You guys ready? Okay. Worst Jericho match in history at his 30th anniversary, because they let Luther work. 5 gimmicks for his wife. Every one of them failed. Matt Hardy concussion, non-concussion, concussion. Brody Lee dies. Dark Order punches. Worst refs in TV history. Devaluing the Young Bucks. Mike Tyson yawning on camera. Snoop Roddy Rotten. Barry Murderhawk and Brody Lee in their first pay-per-view debuts. FTR, nobody cares. Wasted money on Sting. Fat Jericho. Water in Shaq's face, no payoff, excuse me. Song and dance kills MJF's heat. Luther. Neck tattoos. Black glove on Sean Spears. Anybody else got anything they want to add? That was just off the top of my head last night. So if you're going to fucking take 2 points off for those, you're at about a D- right now in grading. I was a college professor for, 8 years. So I have graded some things long-term. And I'm just thinking, how much can you open yourself up to the trolls to come back and point out all your flaws? Even if you would have said B+, that would have left room for improvement. Instead, you can go back through the laundry list of terrible errors in their first year. And that's just my short list in 5 minutes last night. So, we can go on and on and on about this shit, but it's statements like that show how completely oblivious they are in the wrestling bubble.
Beast, to bring you up to speed here, we're talking.
Cody, you all just been putting over people and praising, and it's been just a positive and great, empowering week for professional wrestling and really for the world in general.
We did start on a positive. We put over the NFL for an incredible weekend of football action. Then we put over Bar Rats. Now we're talking about the grading scale for AEW. Cody has given them an A, but there's still a lot of room to grow to get that A+ for them, as he feels one of their biggest holdbacks is that the talent has such incredible freedom, and that's why we see kind of repetitive storylines and strategies from segment to segment. So if Ben's kind of broken it down here. He's got a short list of issues there. He's got them in that D range. Beast, where you put AEW here in just a little over their first year on television?
Well, to be honest with you, Rick, only because I don't follow week to week, I don't feel it would be fair for me necessarily to give that rating. But I did see this article, and it's one of those situations that I feel like Cody was in a hard situation to answer that question, because publicly, if you say anything less than, a good grade, then it's like you're shitting on your own company. But I absolutely see what Ben's saying too. If you don't have room to grow, then you're done. You're always going to be done. I don't care how good you are. If you don't have room to grow and improve and get better, then it just means that you're falling short of the foresight to be able to see the problems, and you're just waiting for the whole thing to implode from the inside. So it's one of those things that I don't necessarily blame Cody for saying it's an A, but if I hope in real life backstage he really doesn't think that, because to me that would imply that he doesn't really see things that need to be fixed or helped. And I could say, despite the fact that I don't watch week to week, the little bit I have watched, I can absolutely say that there are things that I've seen that just fall short from basic wrestling storytelling, and some of the things that are just tried and true rules on helping to get people over and get stories over, and yet they still aren't doing those things. So just that alone tells me that there is absolutely room to improve. And if they were to do those things, then they would take these great athletes and these great talents to heights that right now in their trajectory are going to get nowhere close to being as over as they could get.
Miro's debut, Matt Cardona. We can keep going down these lines, dude. I could hit you with 30 or 40 right away.
Coming in, Matt Hardy's supposed to be one of the hottest things. They have this incredible freedom there, and
Dark Order storyline origins where they had no idea where they were going. The women's division until Serena got there. That you could go through every woman's match and every one of them's rotten.
And it goes back to talking about Serena. I've been kind of following what she's been doing. It's like I feel like as far as the women are concerned in AEW, like they don't have really any stories that they're telling with them. You know what I mean? Like I feel almost like the women's division. I mean, it's great they're giving them quote unquote TV time, but it still feels like an afterthought when they aren't involved in any kind of story or character development as part of the show. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me from only watching from time to time, but that's one thing I feel I've, in the few episodes I've seen picked up on, is it seems like there's all these ongoing stories throughout the show, but the women just wrestle. And it's like, well, that doesn't get them over. You know what I mean?
Right now they're working Sheeta and Abaddon, where it's more of a mythic bite in the neck thing, but people are shitting on Abaddon because she's supposed to be mythic and has a crazy Marilyn Manson look. Meanwhile, she's going on Twitter talking about Al Snow called her fat back at Rocky Mountain Pro. Then she's on AEW with back fat hanging over her sports bra. So you tell me, like, again, before you came on, there's 300 workers who are on TV, and there's 60 of them that could be called tomorrow just for not protecting the business, being a mark for themselves on social media, especially when you're working a gimmick like Abaddon's. Like I saw some other bullshit where AEW people were getting into it. I think it might have been Jade Cargill and Brandy. And then she's posting fucking the popcorn eating memes. Abaddon.
Oh gosh.
You're done here. I'm sorry. I loved what you had going on, but you're done here. Because you have a special gimmick that's different than everybody else, but because you're a 20-something addicted to fucking social media, you just can't put the fucking phone down.
And the shame of it is, it's a shame, someone like a Jake the Snake, when she came in, did pull her aside and be like, hey, just so you know, and just like, I feel like they have such a wealth of knowledge backstage. You would just feel like some of that would carry over, but it doesn't seem to happen.
Not even a little bit, bro. And they step on business after the business is gone. They shotgun right into the next segment 5 times on a show. So none of them end up meaning anything when you book double business in there. And it's just nobody pulling Buddy aside, pinching the back of his arm, saying, nope, this is not what we do. It's just, and I put up I sent you a Russo clip for the thumbs. Russo's got a clip coming out talking exactly that, of these guys getting their buddies jobs and then put him in the ring. We have Luther giving Jericho the worst match on the night that should have been Jericho's greatest match ever because he wanted to do a buddy a favor. Then we have Luther running in this week with kicks that look like week 1 Derby City wrestling talent, bro. And on the wall it says Elite. Please spare me, bro. An A? You give yourself an A? Okay.
Well, to me, one of the things that really jumped out is B says growth. And what was one of the keys? They're going to change the world. They're going to make wrestling cool again. They've done absolutely nothing in their existence to grow their audience.
Mm-hmm. How about everything's going to be based around how many matches you win in analytics? Where's that? That doesn't mean shit ever in their storylines.
Yeah, I mean, they've done I guess they've done a good job catering to their little niche, but again, we're not growing anything.
Brody Lee does $1 million for the memorial show, right? $1 million plus maybe. What's the next week? The week before that was 800 something. The week before that was 995,000. Brody Lee hits $1 million. Then this week was what? Did you see?
Was it like 7.5 somewhere in there?
640.
Oh, it was down that far. I mean, they had that significant of a drop off.
And NXT did 600 too. So we had a pool of 1.4 million. We dropped that to 1.3, and now combined it's 1.2 million split on Wednesday nights. Like an A. And
it seems that they really came out loaded up for that night 1 of the New Year special. I mean, they had that thing front loaded last week. As we get into this week, will be the second side of that. I was looking forward to last week's, and it just kind of lost me in the show. It just really didn't have a strong flow to it.
No, it didn't have the Omega match at the end was good, but then Don Callis does wrestling and turns the guy they're trying to make cool into a heel. And then Good Briz comes out. We get a fake Too Sweet. And we've been working on taking the Young Bucks from being heels, getting them back to babyface, and now they're neutral heel again. I can't.
It felt so awkward at the close of that too. It was the most anticlimactic, reunion of sorts, if you will. I mean, it didn't have any kind of, no pun intended, impact to really have you hooked to be coming back. As we talk about the repetitiveness, the flow of the show, doesn't this ultimately fall on the person that they regularly praise every week for his tremendous writing skills here? Doesn't this fall on Khan?
Yeah, absolutely. He said he's been booking shows since he was 10 and 12 years old. Oh yeah, where? What show did you put on? And just because you wrote something down in 4th grade of matches you like doesn't mean that's booking, bro.
I've been doing that since 2nd grade, Tony. Yeah. I'm coming for you.
Oh man, definitely. But a guy's got millions upon millions. There's things that need to be done, like Luther and Serpentico and all these guys who are hangers on, who are buddies, bro. They gotta go. Like, it just makes your company look so bad, so less than. And you can't have Elite on the wall and say that you're the best when these types of things when guys are missing punches. by this much. And Dustin Rhodes is in the ring. We can't have one great performer and then somebody who just looks like a Make-A-Wish who got to wrestle one night, pretty much at this point. But I'm making a wish right now to kick off the week a little bit better, man, because I know it's going to be an A+, no doubt. It's your Mama Monday morning monologue. Yeah.
All right. Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you're doing good. It is January the 11th. And for those of you, I mean, most of you probably know this, but for the few of you that don't, today is Milk Day. Did you all know this? You all do this. And so we're going to celebrate drinking a cold glass of your favorite dairy beverage. But I don't recommend drinking too much unless you want your insides to have utter destruction, because trust me, it can happen. It really can. So wherever you're at in the world, whether you're getting your milk from the dairy cows in the United States or you're getting it from your Moss cows in Russia, just enjoy a nice cold glass of your favorite dairy beverage. But enough about that. Let's turn our attention to the world of wrestling, as this past week we saw plenty of things we wish we could forget, but unfortunately they don't make milk of amnesia. So let's take a look at some of this week's milk duds. Retribution. They aren't taking two things kindly, guys. There was a meme this past week that compared them to the insurrectionists that attacked the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. The meme was posted on Twitter, which edited a Trump flag with the Stables logo and called Wednesday's violence the worst invasion angle ever. The post has drawn a lot of criticism online, including from Retribution, who, with Reckoning, tweeting back not to compare them. I have to say, though, I completely disagree with the comparisons, and that people are actually going to remember what happened at the Capitol. I mean, come on, let's be real here, guys. In an interview with Sportskeeda's Off the Script, JTG revealed that he once gave WWE an idea to make Booker T his manager, but the company rejected it, with Vince McMahon saying he didn't think Kofi Kingston needed a manager. WWE's India account teased a dream match between AJ Styles and Omos versus Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels, but Kevin Nash shot that down quickly, tweeting in reply, "Keep dreaming," to which I can only assume means he tore his quad while getting the tweet out, and it's going to be a while before we see him in action again. So it's going to be a while, guys, just 6 to 8 months. In the newest Lucha family video, Kalisto shares the first installment of Lucha Eats by diving into the best fish tacos. Fortunately, he took all the proper healthcare precautions when making this culinary treat, so that way he did not end up with a queso COVID. I did make fish tacos once, believe it or not. I did make it once, but they didn't like them. They just kind of swam away. So, in an interview with ESPN, Hulk Hogan, brother, spoke about the current wrestlers on the WWE roster, how they react whenever he makes a return for the company. He noted that some of the younger wrestlers didn't seem to want him there, saying, "Some of the younger guys are really cold to me," to which Paula Dean said, "Me too." Sean Waltman has announced that he's scheduled for surgery on Monday today to fix a long-standing injury. The WWE Hall of Famer posted to Twitter on Thursday to note that he is meeting with an orthopedic surgeon to schedule surgery on his ACL and meniscus. Best of luck to Sean Waltman in his recovery. And an interesting coincidence is that the amount of months it typically takes to rehab from something like this is 6. True fact. And last but not least, guys, Ric Flair thinks Shawn Michaels is the greatest worker in wrestling history, but CM Punk has some dude-like thoughts on that. Ric Flair previously spoke with WWE UK and made his assessment of HBK, noting it's not arguable anymore. Shawn is the greatest worker in the history of our business. I think everybody would give that to him. But CM Punk took to Twitter to offer a GIF of the Coen Brothers classic, The Big Lebowski, featuring the dude's famous line, "Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man." But still no word on whether or not he was out of his element. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Monday morning monologue.
Yeah, keep it moving right along, baby. Good stuff this morning for Milk Day. It says, "We are mooing on." And did that joke just kill my momentum? The chat room loving that. And Scott Simpson still waiting for that dairy air joke as well. Everybody,
I thought about it. I was like, no, just one too many. Just one too many.
Well, don't drink too much. You might have a bowel movement. Yeah, shout out to the chat room having a good time with the jokes this morning. I love that. That got me pumped up until the CM Punk thing, dude. Best in the world. not even best in the room most of the time, let alone to consider yourself better than HBK, Flair, Brett, Taker, Game, Steve Austin, all of them. You didn't draw nearly as much, and you don't have the size to really be taken seriously. Almost every one of your matches had to suspend disbelief because most people can punch out a comic book fanatic in under a minute and a half. So best in the world, sure, buddy. Anytime. But Beast, appreciate you with the run-in, man, getting that prepared this morning. I know Milk Day is super important, and it was utterly delicious as well. I actually was working out hard this weekend. I put on, me, the weight struggle like anybody. As always, those goddamn Christmas cookies and everything else RBV Fitness is posting. So I was like at 258, down from 309 originally, thankfully. And I went back up to like 264, 265, been working hard. Weighed in this morning back to 259. So it was those Christmas cookies beforehand. It took about 2 weeks to really work hard and tighten things up to get back to where it is. But we're heading for 240s now. So if you want to join us in the new year, StevieRichardsFitness.com. You'll be in the Stevie Richards Fitness Hacker Hamin group, and we're pushing each other to greatness this year physically. If there's ever been a need for you to be in great physical shape, could be the fact that we're at the steps of civil war and our society's falling down. But I don't really care about that, because I got one of my 3D printers back up and running last night. So let's
finally,
a little under extrusion issue. And then I think I should be able to get the other one up and going too. Just need to update some firmware. So double prints at the same time. Let's not jinx ourselves. But yeah, man, glad to have my boys here, RBV and Dr. Ted. I wanted to thank you both on air for just the awesome efforts in the last week. I think the last week has been the most positive and biggest workload and of Hamin Media Group in the history of the LLC and of our corporation. And I couldn't have done it without you two, without MSG, without Colin, without Big Ray, without all the listeners and the guys who are uploading the affiliate shows. I saw a new WPMS podcast out there on HMG. Everybody is just absolutely killing it right now, and I just wanted to put that over. Nobody, and that's what's driving everyone too, because you can't be the guy or girl who sees everybody else working hard and you think you're just going to go along to get along. Everybody's effort is showing through and driving everybody else to keep things moving along, baby. I love it.
I think what's most important, I've regularly been putting out there, as the rest of, the world is in shambles. The divide is multiplying. We're pulling together stronger than ever. What is your team doing? Because I know what my team's doing, and we're out there hustling. We're busting ass. We are moving forward. Hey, HMG going to be over strong in 2021 across the board.
Already are, I feel, man. With huge opportunities. I'm almost scared because there's 5 more projects and brands in the last week that I'm not even talking about that we have to get ready for launch in the next quarter. So super excited to be working with so many great talents, man. And even the ones we already are. Goldilocks with a new album coming out. She wanted to put the faces of people. They're doing like a jail lockdown type thing. So there's a bunch of cool things to interact with her on Patreon and even be on their album art at this point, man. So we ran down Stevie Ray as well. Talked to Damian Sandow this weekend based off of April Hunter putting out a tweet. Colin saw it, dropped our name. Idol reaches out to me. Who knows where this is going to go? I mean, that guy's, anything you give Damian Sandow, he's going to turn into gold. They tried to rib him how many times, and he turns it into a top guy thing. Forget about it, man.
We're doing so many things. Like I get surprised. Like you all were telling me, or MSG was telling me, who do we have coming up on the Stevie Ray show? I know he has Deborah McMichael, and he had another interesting guest as well.
Marrow, Mickey Gall. It's gonna. I wouldn't doubt that he gets Mike Tyson by the end of the year. So, and then we also have the open, I think before you came out, we're talking about the Impact relationship where he's going to have their hottest feuds in debates on the show. And the first one out of the gate is Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards in their death feud. So it's just crazy, man. And that's all in the last week, you guys. You wonder why we're working 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. I know you see it. I know you guys feel it. And everybody is just really towing the line, and it was an incredible week at HMG.
Yeah. And it's all thanks to everyone from the patrons, from the people that are sharing the shows, that are liking and commenting, and any kind of social interaction that you're providing is helping to I guess help us trend in the algorithm and help people find the show. And that's why we're able to do these cool things, and that we're really on the precipice of doing it. So thank you very much for doing it. Please continue to do what you can. We're not, for those of you that are enjoying the premium content and subscribing to that, awesome. And for those of you that are just taking advantage of all the cool free stuff that we're putting out too, and every little bit of interaction and thing you put over really helps us out. And that's why we're able to have all these cool guests and experiences. And really, I think, it won't be too long before we're kind of a one-stop shop for pretty much all things that aren't corporate wrestling, and anyone that's otherwise, been through and has been a top name in the industry, I feel like is going to, at some point, be a part of the banner, so to speak. And I'm really excited for the opportunity, and it's just a lot of really cool stuff coming out of the pipeline. But never want to forget the gratitude that we have for everyone that is helping to get us to this point, because we couldn't do these cool things without the team and everyone around us that's helping to bring us up from the staff to the fans to everybody.
I agree fully on that, man. It is the community, and it's insane. Whether it's just watching people react in the NFL football playoffs and Javid's, new Pick'em Challenge stuff and everything we got going on community-wise, or the street team. El Plaja has been right on his game too, with everything coming in as the world falls down around us. So he's got to deal with the realities, getting us signed up for these alternative media platforms, because obviously Parler down today, which wasn't here we are with the leftists think they're going over strong with whatever happened in some staged insurrection, so they can again grab more power. You see them arresting people and people getting fired and rejoicing in it, and then people rejoicing that an alternative media platform is being struck down for free speech and censorship reigning supreme. People are rejoicing for that. And they call the side that they're doing it against Nazis, where what they are actually doing in practice is the most Nazi censorship type actions they can partake in, while they cheer about it and pat themselves on the back thinking they're open-minded. It really is a true MK Ultra sickness at this point. And the fact that people are cheering about taking away platforms for free speech and so they can have a gotcha moment is unbelievable to me. But it's too believable, because I've been doing this shit for 15 years, warning people about the dangers of their complacency and putting their faith in these globalist leaders who tell you one thing, and now they have their minds warped to be their minions of idiocy. And we see it falling down in our timelines, whether it's family, friends, people who are just not able to get their thumbs off that goddamn you have Twitter or else Facebook, and they got to post some dumb shit that really is only going to hurt them in their relationships and not further a cause of waking somebody up to the way they think. Everyone's so divisive at this time. We know exactly where the lines are drawn, and we feel bad on the side that I sit on for those people who I had massive respect for, who I think are geniuses. And I see them, whether it's comedy or some wrestling people I know, just not using their art form whatsoever. If you're a great improviser, great comedian that I know, and you're just lashing out and you're not using your comedy to make people think and laugh, like that's your whole fucking job. And I haven't seen one of them. I mean, I'm talking 20, 30 of my mentors, top people in the biz, nobody, they're just reacting. And when you do that on your social media, well, now you've killed your credibility as a comedian, because when you want to come back and do a funny joke, well, there's 16 fucking emotional posts with no punchline before that. Now your joke doesn't mean fuck all. So they fucked their own business. And congratulations, your emotional Pop-Tarts who will now sit on the sidelines after 20 years of putting in grind in the game for a 2-year affirmative action hire to come in, pass you by, and take your fucking writing spot in Hollywood, because that's the way you set this forum up for you to cut your own throat based on some white guilt that's underneath it all. So it should be a real cute 2021 for the entertainment industry as a whole.
I
Oh, go ahead. I did see that there's a new, I think I saw there's this new senior vice president of creative writing for the WWE. So maybe that'll bring the change that we've been looking for all this time.
So I saw the William Alcia posted that there's a big chance that Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Goldberg could have a triple threat where then Reigns becomes the double champ and we can go back to consult. I think that is really what's going to save wrestling and get people to tune in. I think that is just the storyline that's undeniable. Fucking horrible, bro. You're just, your whole office has got to go.
Well, we jump into that. Let's start off there then, because I did have this as I got a handful of notes here. Anybody wants to keep up, if you want the latest scoops, what's happening, make sure you're heading on over to Facebook, the Hamin Media Discussion Group, where William Alcia, who is one of our soldiers out there in the trenches, award-winning digital and social media contributor of the year for the Hamin Media Group. One of the stories coming out here. It's going to be a transition process that is underway as the newly hired VP of Creative Writing, Christine Lebrano. She is behind the scenes, and they want to actually give her more control than we have seen from past names. As again, this regularly this rumor kind of surfaces, and it's always hard to believe here. But they say in 2021 that Vince McMahon is going to be stepping away a little bit here as they make a transition to the creative VP and more so towards Stephanie and or Triple H here.
That means to me that he can wash his hands of it and put the heat on her as a scapegoat in 6 months. So
it just seems to be the vicious cycle. Every time someone comes in, we get this statement.
What do you know that? Or they
IFC, who worked with independent comedians to develop shows that really didn't get over. Comedy Bang Bang. I think Comedy Bang Bang is one of the worst fucking shows in the history of comedy. Like they try to get all these alternative dudes, the one dude with the big afro and shit who plays keyboards. And I find myself never laughing at that shit. It's a laugh once in a season, not alt things that kind of laid the groundwork for this SJW pussy movement of not being able to say things that were, shaking people out of their norm every day. That's what comedy should do. And instead it just streamlined it to these like mealy mouth. Like that's what their comedy feels like to me. It really doesn't have any flavor, no stakes whatsoever. And that's pretty much the types of shows she's developed. So if her peak is developing, you think that's what's going to save fucking wrestling? You think people even in wrestling are going to listen to her and be like, yeah, this is the way to go? She's nothing more than a scapegoat and will be on her way out. And also another affirmative action hire that Stephanie met at some women's empowerment for globalist producers. So they think that's going to insulate them from, having people throw darts at them, from the outside. It's not. It's not going to at all. I also want to say what's up to the Big Larry. He not only helped with the 3D printers, but he's working on some official awards for the Haminis for 2020 to 3D print as well. So, $5 face slap awards. We'll see if we can get those done and get things up and rolling. But he's working on some designs now. Appreciate you, Larry H.
Beast, you're going to have to get yourself a little trophy case there for the back wall with all that hardware you're going to be receiving.
I know. I need to start working on it.
Now, Ben, it's kind of interesting when you talk about this hire here. Obviously, I think we're all in agreement there that this was Stephanie met somebody at one of these conferences. This is a way for them, look how proud, they could be proud of themselves moving forward. Are we going to see a lot more of this from WWE, especially with the transition in the White House, as it's already been made? It's already been put out there. There is a target on your back, WWE. Certain big names are coming after you for how you even treat your employees, your business operations. Are they going to be kind of trying to stack the deck in their favor? Look, we've been doing all this other, you're just worried about these contracted employees. Look what else we're doing here. Are we going to see this?
There was an AF sign in the window of the Capitol, which is America First, a lobbyist group run by Linda McMahon. So you want to talk about the underground funding of what's going on in the Capitol, that they definitely tie in, but who gives a look at how terrible even in-house that they can't control their own people, that Mia Yim comes out, don't compare us to any of these terrorists. Meanwhile, they're firebombing They're running around with chainsaws. They're fucking smashing production trucks, invading and smashing things. No, that wasn't like anything we saw this week. We're nothing like them, bro. So yeah, too heat me, bro. So the fact that here is a gift horse in the mouth where they don't have to even say anything after we've seen all the shit. If anything, you bring out a guy in the fucking bull horns next week. Next week, fucking whatever it is, Flapjack's got fucking the bull horns on. You know what I mean? To put it there, like they are just such children.
They could have done the same thing over at the WWE headquarters and break into Vince's desk, put the feet up.
Same fucking thing, Beast. Yeah. That would be beautiful, bro. Where they're getting the laptop and they take Vince's laptop, and now we don't know because Retribution's got this, that, or the other. Like, instead, they just have a visceral reaction from watching Rachel Madcow and fucking all the rest of the assholes, and they cannot keep their thumbs off of that. Now, I laid it out on Russo brand. Forgotten Sons should have been there at the Capitol, just cutting the promo with all those motherfuckers running up the steps. Imagine how fucking strong that would be, and where the lines between reality and fiction are completely blurred with 3 guys. I wouldn't even put Lacey Evans with them, with 4 former veterans who have.
I thought you were talking about what's his name with Elias. I just imagine Elias is playing Kumbaya or something while everything's burning around him.
Elias playing it, but like to have 4 vets, the Forgotten Sons, the disenfranchised, the Proud Boy stuff with them, and even then, you could have had, if you wanted to, if you really had the balls to do it. All those people are running up the fucking steps. Proud Boys or the Forgotten Sons are there. That's when you have Retribution there, unmasked. And even in the streets, you do phony fighting while the real shit's going on behind you, bro. And you just have the camera get smashed, and we don't know what happened to him. We just know it was facing off with Retribution and fucking Forgotten Sons in a real fucking situation. And who the fuck's going to go tell those guys, get the fuck out of here. You don't belong here, media. Yeah, okay. Good luck to you. Go tell fucking Flapjack and Weed Whacker that. Well, the rest of the Proud Boys are beating your fucking face in. We just miss so many opportunities. And then these children don't even stick up for their own business. So you know what? They shouldn't have any business. They shouldn't be on TV.
The problem is you're making the link with comedy. It's the same with professional wrestling. They're both good when they push the comfort zone, when they kind of when they mirror what's really going on in the world. They push the limits, but everything is so sensitive now. They're afraid to do any of that.
There's only one guy who's really doing that, in my opinion, and I came up with him because that's zero balls. I mean, and you have to walk that line. And I'm surprised he wasn't there. I'm kind of glad he wasn't, because he probably would have gotten fucking beaten down. But Jordan Klepper from Comedy Central and the Jordan Klepper show, who I came up with at IO, and he should have gotten the main desk at fucking the Daily Show. But Affirmative Action Hire 101, is that guy even fucking funny? The dude from South Africa, Noah fucking Gimmick. Dude,
Noah.
Yeah, dude, he couldn't have tanked a show anymore, and we got to keep him on.
Well, here's the sad part about Trevor Noah. Honestly, his stand-up, I've enjoyed his stand-up, but he doesn't do that. Like when he gets on the show, he's all about the affirmative. Like he has a certain bias and a judgment that he's passing on. He's not really doing comedy so much. I will put over, like when he's doing just straight up stand-up and talking about different accents and how people from different countries act, compare, like that shit is funny, but he doesn't do that on Daily Show. He has a certain narrative that he's trying to push, and it's like, dude, I see that. That's a part of it. Is I can see he's talented, but he has a narrative that he wants to push, and it's like, dude, fuck you, man. I don't want to get on here. I'm on here like I want to see what Jon Stewart did and make irreverent comments about the news and not say this is my opinion and fuck you if you don't like it.
You're right. You got to punch both sides, and I got to go against you. His comedy is fucking baby shit to me, bro. It's all about the accent. It's all about the outside view of America and these little fucking things. I don't think the stand-ups I know would look at him and go, he's in first grade, bro, compared to what we're doing. And he got that spot. And to me, I watched World News. I was on World News Tonight and Late Night Late Show, which was grooming Jordan Klepper through Improv Olympic and fucking Second City to walk right into that. And pretty much when Trevor Noah did it, that was kind of a key turn early on of where we started down this road to get to the point where we are now. Might have taken a decade, but that and Jordan Kleber just takes on the chin because he's going to go along to get along. He's going to make it gold, but he's the guy out there at these Trump rallies for the last fucking 3 years doing the man on the street stuff, which was very dangerous to let Trumpers kind of hang themselves with, give them enough rope and they're going to say some dumb shit. So he's only got to look at the camera and go, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. And you know what the joke really is. So aside from Jordan Klepper, not a lot of respect for any performer who's not using these things as the backdrop to their success, especially in wrestling. We should be fucking art imitates life. And we're not even, and then the people who are doing that, Retribution, are denying life that their art fucking goes that. So you're done here. Thanks for playing.
We usually have an amazing time here on the Monday Locker Room. You guys kind of disappointed me today. You reminded me that new episodes of that piece of shit Daily Show are starting again tonight. When it comes on at 11 o'clock, I cannot find my remote quick enough to get the hell away from that channel. It's one of those shows I cannot change the channel quick enough.
People ask me, do I know anybody from UCB? Upright Citizens Brigade. Matt Besser was my favorite in high school. Smoked a lot of dope with Matt Besser.
Well, I will say, and maybe you don't like him either. I do like the one dude, Ronnie Chang, I think his name is. Now, he usually does his own little bit pieces. I don't know how much say they have in doing their field work stuff, but I will say, like him in particular as a correspondent, I enjoy. But in general, yes, I agree that the narrative they push is.
He's so good that I've never heard of him.
Well, I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's how he's on the number one, what should be the number one show in this country. If Jon Stewart was still running it, the Daily Show would be the fucking place to go, right?
Yeah.
Now
it's a shell of what it used to be.
Yeah, well, the show sucks shit through a straw now so bad that I haven't watched it for 3 years, and I don't even know who any of their correspondents are. I could go Samantha Bee, fucking John Oliver. Like, we could run down the fucking line of quality pundits who spun out and did their own thing. Now it's like some.
Now, to be fair, I feel like Samantha Bee's fallen to the same trap as Trevor Noah, and that she has a narrative she's pushing and isn't the same, contributor like she used to be. You know what I mean?
Viacom property.
Yeah.
When Viacom owns you, that's how it is.
Yeah.
That's another show. I cannot get to the remote quick enough when she comes on anymore. We were talking about Retribution. Rumors that there could be some heat. Mustafa Ali, as last week on Raw Talk following Legends Night, he had that live mic and pretty much buried the Legends, saying it was pretty disgraceful, that he was beyond agitated, that they would dedicate 3 hours to individuals who can have had their glory days and can barely walk now, when there was no room for Retribution on the show. To me, maybe he took a little leeway, as they aren't so strict on what's happening on Raw Talk. But is this legit heat here, or is this again an audience, dirt sheets being a little oversensitive? That how dare he go after someone? I mean, to me, this is exactly what you want from your leader of Retribution.
I think this is good work, and the fact that they didn't have a follow-up for their own Instagram, that I don't care. Tatanka didn't do shit. He would have been perfect. Tatanka's leaving at the end of the night to go get into his car or his canoe, whatever he's gonna fucking do to get back down the river and fucking.
But how?
Yeah, but how? And they beat the shit out of him in the parking lot, and they tape it in a very world star fucking way. You know what I mean? Not WWE produced way. And then fucking after they beat him down, you turn and Ali's there and he cuts that promo there. So what he's doing to try and work is fine, but we're only getting 40%. Like, that Retribution should be pissed off. That is the id for them. But give me show, don't tell before you fucking just tell. So again, children missing, not taking care of their business.
Well, there we go. We got Hamin now with the sensitive nature of the audience. We've got Hamin booking hate crimes, beating up Native Americans now.
Are hate crimes not? They just built a fucking gallows to hang Pelosi outside of the goddamn Capitol. Are we not ready on hate crimes to go?
Oh,
Police fucking beating black men down and killing them in the street and hate crimes? Absolutely, we do. We have fucking right-wing motherfuckers crushing cops indoors and saying, fuck you, you're a sellout, and we don't care anymore. Yeah, we do. We're at this point. Art needs to show what's going on in life. And if you can't do that in a working way because you're worried about some controversy, but meanwhile, you're going to fucking march out you're fucked in the ass from the get-go.
Hey, nothing better back in the day. You got the bikers fighting the blacks with a run-in from the Mexicans and then a run-in from the Puerto Ricans. Everybody was going to war back in the day.
I mean, we're talking 90s. We're coming out of LA riots, Crips, Bloods, gangbangers, fucking Koreans locking down their fucking. I mean, this was what it was 20, 30 years ago. And now we can't even scratch the surface of that. Pathetic.
We are on the road to the Royal Rumble just around the corner. It kicks off the road to WrestleMania. One of the big matches announced, or the challenge thrown out there this past week on Raw, that Goldberg, he wants a piece of WWE champion Drew McIntyre. We got reports here that McIntyre is he's not happy with this situation. He didn't like the sudden booking. Apparently, it was the match that we got last Monday between him and Keith Lee. That was going to be the match for the Royal Rumble. They pulled a pivot of sorts, went with Goldberg, and Drew he doesn't trust the direction they're going to go here. He feels that he's going to end up putting Goldberg over. He's not going to be good business for himself. And he's not so happy, with everything he's done for the company in 2020, all the struggles they've been going through, that they're going to kind of treat him like this as they kick off the new year. Also reports out there that this entire program with Drew McIntyre, the pivot I was talking about, is because Roman Reigns absolutely turned down the idea of working again with Goldberg, as Reigns has kind of emerged as one of those talents that will speak up, that is trying to protect his business right now, that feels that he's in the spot, obviously that he is, that he can go to Vince McMahon if he sees something he doesn't like. Thoughts here for Drew? Is this going to hurt him here? What direction should they go in? Is he right in handling his business this way?
Well, the first thing I think we maybe we talked about it last week, but I did just see the scenes from that Raw, and it was just crazy to me how no one caught. They spent the entire show having Randy Orton disrespect legends, one after the other, and then at the end of the show, Goldberg comes out and says, "I'm tired of you disrespecting, the Hall of Famers, whatever." Like I was half expecting Drew to grab a microphone, like, "Hey, that was Randy, buddy. That wasn't me. He was backstage disrespecting everybody."
And I think
okay.
on the Friday locker room, Strangler Steve hit the nail right on the head. Said this is the show's the disconnect, where they're rewrite, but they didn't figure out they had to rewrite the ending segment at some point. So there was no continuation throughout the show during the rewrite. And that's the reason we got where Goldberg, he just looks like a buffoon. Like, what the hell is he talking about?
And your baby face gets pushed on his ass. And that was the moment where all the legends were supposed to point and laugh, but fucking Vince changes it 12 hours before the show. So now all the continuity thread gets fucking shot, and the rest of the show means nothing when we fuck up the finish. And not one writer, not Drew, not anybody didn't step up to Vince McMahon and go, nope, we're not doing that, Vince. I understand what, like, you might feel a certain way today, but this whole show has a thread running through it. And if you change that finish, we're all going to look like complete fucking idiots and open ourselves up to devastation. And we cliffhang on a possible murder. And he cut that off the front end too, and just had Miz and Morrison billboard the show, blow off all of the surprise element of the legends that were there, and then had a terrible scene with New Day trying to improvise. Then you could see how they were just given that afternoon, had no idea, and then went and pulled 14 minutes on a match that meant nothing. So we had a 28-minute opening segment that didn't carry over a cliffhanger at all. Then we chopped the fucking end of the show off, switched the main events from RKO and Hardy to fucking Dragon Lee with Drew, only to have this march out that makes no sense whatsoever. They need to sit this man down, tape his arms to a fucking chair, put tape over his mouth, and just push him into a closet, lock the door. And then the show may have a chance. It may have a chance of getting somewhere, because if you're going to, as a writing staff of 28, come up with, that would have been a beautiful show. If we would have opened with the cliffhanger, closed with Orton getting pushed on his ass after fucking doing all that, that would have been a pretty damn good Raw, dude. Instead, it's how can we butcher this at the 11th hour and have it make no sense, and everyone looks like a complete goddamn fool. And the fact that only one guy, Roman Reigns, can stand up and go, "No, I'm not doing that." Fuck that. Drew should have said the same thing. He goes, "No, mate, I'm not doing that." And fucking,
"Well, I'm not related to Dwayne Johnson, mate."
Yeah. That all that alone, that there's not, and I don't care if this lady's coming in from IFC and Vince claims he's stepping away. She'll write something brilliant maybe and control this team, and he will still come in on a Monday afternoon and go, I don't like that, pal. Chop, chop, chop. But that kills all the continuity. So what? I own the company. And no one's going to step up and say, sit the fuck down, old man. You're delusional. And they get what they deserve because they won't. They haven't stepped up and done that.
Well, speaking of Vince, former referee Jimmy Corderas was in a recent interview and was talking about Vince's interaction with the referees, the officials. As he said, Vince isn't really hands-on with the refs. Obviously, he sees something, a big detail that you need to change, something you need to work on. He will approach them, but it's usually that the refs are working with the agents, and you don't see a lot of interaction between the two because there's this general perception that Vince is a little bit too intimidating when it comes to the level of the referee. I wanted to ask you guys a little bit about the roles that referees do play, just maybe a little bit in the match, but more so behind the scenes. Who are they regularly working with? How do they coordinate the different matches, the different flow, and their responsibilities?
As far as like who assigns the referees?
Yeah, when they come in here, how do they get their assignments? Are they working just with the agent? Are they going to the talent? How does that kind of flow there?
Well, the referee, usually an agent or whoever's helping book the show will sign out the referees, and then from there, as a referee, at least in my experience, you go around to your matches and talk with the agent and the wrestlers to discuss what you need to do, what the business is, so to speak, how much time, yada yada, and communicate with them that way. And so you just kind of, once you get your assignment, you go find your people, discuss, and sometimes that'll change if time gets cut short or time runs long. It's your responsibility as a referee to help let the talent know, hey, by the way, you all got 2 minutes cut, or y'all need to go, you need to pull an extra 3 or whatever. That's kind of the referee's responsibility to make sure, as needed, to keep talent informed as far as how much time they have and what they need to do as far as getting their business done.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that story to even be true, because Vince is in the ear of Graves and fucking any other gimmick on commentary, and he's also in the ear of every referee. He is controlling everything. So I don't necessarily believe that. And guys like John Cone and whatnot have multiple jobs. They booked the extras. Kyoto did ring crew for 20 years, making sure all that was. So refs have a lot of hats to wear in WWE, man. They just don't sit around waiting for their assignments. Usually they're the fucking guys who are making sure everything is moving with the show. So, maybe just on the ref assignments they don't, but they've buried the refs in WWE in the last couple of weeks a ton. They did the thing with fucking Keith Lee. Was it Keith Lee? Who was it? No. Who was Bro fighting this fucking past week? Riddle. Oh, Lashley. In the Lashley thing, they go up and over with Riddle's legs over the ref, and he taps. And then Lashley's like, what the fuck, he tapped? And then he rolls Lashley up. So now the ref is buried on a jump over you spot because he doesn't see it. And then the roll up means something. So the ref looks twice as stupid for missing the fucking submission. And then he calls the pin for the babyface that wins in a heel ass way. Instead of fucking Riddle tapping out, the ref missing it and Lashley going, he tapped. And then Riddle and the ref going, I didn't see it. And then Riddle could have gone, bro, I tapped. He beat me. And then looking like a baby face with integrity who lost to Bobby Lashley. That's not, dude, look at Lashley. It's not a fucking bad thing to lose to him. And you would have had MMA fighter versus MMA fighter. You wouldn't see a guy in a UFC fight tap out and go, then I didn't tap, along those lines. They usually have some discipline that way. And then we have a double roll up with Big E and fucking Apollo Crews this week, so double pin, and the heat's on the ref. The heat is always on the ref right there. So they're not even doing things the right way, whether it's fucking to get the rules over or to, make somebody look a certain way in the angle. The heat keeps coming back on the ref that doesn't pay off, and they look stupid. That being said, we have some really great friends who are, and I gotta say, WWE referees are all pretty goddamn great. They stay out of the way. They're there when they need to be on spots. and they're not missing most of the time, but that's because they're wired and being told everything to do. But our own friend Package Chris Sharp, who's in NXT UK, a phenomenal referee who actually was brought into the business in backstage at like age 4 or 5 by the Hebners. So he's got nothing but referee pumping through his blood. And then Stephen Smith, is that his last name?
Yeah, down in NXT.
A guy who was came to OVW on his own dime, was a fat little roly-poly dude, got himself into shape, trained with Rip 2-3 years, played the game. Yes,
he got to the point where he was working Broadway 60-minute matches, called on the fly, you know.
And now he's a fucking ref in NXT. So there's a lot of guys who, and Dr. Ted too will tell you this, because he started as a referee, and there's no better way to actually, especially if you're a smaller guy, to learn this business than becoming a referee. If you want to be a wrestler, because you're going to be in the main events before you ever get as a wrestler to get in the main events. You're going to know about tag team wrestling. You're going to know about women's wrestling. You're going to know about comedy wrestling. You're getting a chance to work all these different styles. Whereas if you were just a wrestler, chances are, like me, you're going to work crazy heat. Once in a while, I do comedy, obviously, if it's with Dick Justice or something along those lines, Hornswoggle, where it fits in. But most of the time, it's heat for me. But as a ref, you're going to learn all these styles early on, and it's going to make you 10 times the performer. That's why when Dr. Ted transitioned into being more the mobile homers, or a guy that had to be the squash guy for Amish Roadkill, fucking all the Russians, anybody who, who's a giant in that size difference, he knows how to react the right way to get sympathy or to help get heat on a guy to get him over because of all that he learned as a referee. So being a referee early on in your career, especially if you want to be a wrestler, could be one of the smartest things you could ever do as a worker, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was going to say from that perspective, that learning advantage point, it's so dynamic. You see so much going on. Beast, in your days as working as a referee, when you are working with the wrestlers and an agent, how comfortable did you feel to say something? This doesn't make a lot of sense, guys. Can we rethink this? Or did you kind of just let them?
Well, as referee, no, I was never unless I was in there with guys that were greener than me, which didn't come till later. And even as a referee, I was still pretty new to the business. Unless I was with guys in my own training class, I usually just shut the fuck up and did whatever the business was. Now, if the agent or whoever was running the show, like a Jim Cornette I wasn't refereeing with Jim Cornette, but with like Al Snow, and he would tell me, to have a certain business and the guys weren't getting the business done, then I might say, hey guys, Al said to do this, XYZ, whether it's like, he didn't want, comedy spots, or, he wanted more heat, or whatever. Like, and a lot of times I was in the ear getting told that anyway, like, tell them they're not doing this. Is like, so as a referee, you're really just kind of communicating through the booker or the agent as far as what needs to be done within the context of the match. And that was really the only time I would interject.
Now, have you heard any stories, either one of you here, where I guess if you become a veteran official, like a Hebner level, would they be more vocal, or is it still just go out there and kind of
usually give least of a fuck, to be honest with you? It's young guys who don't want to screw it up. Because at OVW we had some great older veteran talent referees, Jolt and Joe Wheeler and Ray Ramsey. And I love Jolt and Joe. When he gets you in the corner, he kind of sounds like, but Joe's a quiet guy, and he's been he's reffed Andre the Giant matches. Like, that's how long this motherfucker's been
been around.
He's been around for a minute. But I love Joe. But Joe gets you in the corner, and he'll start counting to you, and he'll mimic the count. He won't go one, he'll go, oh. If you can't see me, I'm just mouthing it. And then if he tries to break you up on a 5 count, he'll be like, watermelon, 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 watermelon. So he's just talking, but the crowd thinks he's saying something to me, but he ain't saying shit. And then I'll be like, Joe, I'll slap your old ass. He's like, you wasn't there, Pops. Watermelon, watermelon. So there's guys who've been doing this for a long time. Or Ramsey with some half queer shit where he'd try and get down for a pin and stick his thumb in your ass on a house show or something like that. Like small ribs, those guys don't really give a shit when they get to that veteran referee status. And I kind of like working with old birds like that because it pops me to have a little something of them in there, to make a moment with them. So, and it seems like Hamin character always gets over with him because I like to fucking berate the refs, obviously, but mainly my guy referee Sideburns does most of my matches. And that's a dude who I've taught the Man Beast way of how Beast taught me and watching him do his thing. And that's why I think referee Sideburns, Darren Slansky, and a couple others that I can name are 1,000 times better referees than anybody on the AEW roster. Like you could wipe that whole roster out, and I can. There's some really great indie referees out there right now, man, who do the small things. When I'm on a 5 count on somebody, one dude in Canada will come over, Sam, and he'll just give me a little Iggy on the arm on 4 of like, don't bury me, and I'm letting you know because you're in the moment and it looks real. It's small things like that can really set apart the referee,
or if you're like reprimanding someone, you do it in a way to where your back is turned to the action, so that way the heels can cheat behind your back, but it looks like you're trying to lay down the law. But little things like that can help the heels to get heat and the baby faces to get sympathy and help tell the story that's trying to be told within the context of a wrestling match.
Because if a ref just turns around and is like, you got to get out, and we know the heat spot's coming, there's opportunities for the ref to get their character over of like, they're not listening to me. Now get the fuck out of here. I'm going to disqualify you. And like, that's for time for him to be real, turn it up. So while that's going on behind his set, me and Kong are fucking thumping the shit out of him. But if you just turn your back and be like, hey, you got to get out of the ring, pal, please get out. Like, then a ref really isn't doing his job. He should be as frustrated by dudes running in and interrupting the match so we can do that. They have their opportunities to do high level acting, but it's got to be right at the right time on the heat spot.
Is that something that you kind of you focus in on? You do you sculpt that? Is your persona as a referee? Is that something it's
tough because you can get heat from the boys, right? Because we had another great referee at OVW, Goose, who was like, you go out and meet the fans, and the fans loved him, babyface wise, or even on house shows, he'd come out as the Gooser taker, or something along those lines. Like, or on the Halloween shows, he'd always be great, and people loved him, man. And they just come out Goose, and he just give him a little and go back to doing what he was doing. But that's enough, so they love you. They chant Sideburns too for referee Sideburns. But here's the problem with that. The wrestlers will go, oh, he's going into business for himself. He's trying to get himself over. And that's not bad, because you can have great referee characters transition into it. But once you do that, you're now a character on the roster. You're not an official, and people are expecting to see character out of you and for you to act some kind of way. So your neutrality kind of gets blown once you go into business for yourself, or an angle, keeps coming. And like, say in my matches, referee Sideburns gets bumped, 5 matches in a row over the course of whatever. We can cut all that together, and he's had enough and he's tired of getting beat up by wrestlers or what have you. Now we can go into some kind of way along those lines. But storylines around referees are dangerous because it makes them into a character, and it's tough to go back to being an official after that.
Yeah, and I'd say more importantly, as a referee, it's not so much important to get yourself over as a character necessarily, but get yourself over as the authority, as someone that is going to enforce the rules, and that's simply what they're doing. So that way, when the heels cheat, it means something because the referee's been enforcing the rules. So if they get away with something, then it's not the referee's fault. You won't have heat on the referee because the referee's been doing everything he can to enforce the rules. The heels just managed to pull one over his eyes, even though he spent 10 other times catching them. You know what I mean? Then now the heat means something. And that's really what it comes down to, is being the authority, so that way the rules matter. So when the heels cheat, they can get heat. Or if they find a way to maybe make it seem like the baby faces cheated and the referee has to turn his attention to them, then like, oh, those motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Like, they've been cheating the whole time. It actually means something. You get people riled up that way when you say, this is the rules, this is the context of the wrestling match. If it gets broken, the referee's going to break it up. But sometimes the referee doesn't see everything. Right. So really, that's what it comes down to.
Well, what's the time investment for the training for a referee? How long until they're ready to go?
They get ready quicker a lot, but because a wrestler has one match on the card. Sideburns be working 3-4 matches, and I love it in the summertime when hey, how's some cigarettes treating you, buddy? Because we'll be working in places 90 fucking degrees, sweats pouring off all of us, and then he's got to go do it 3 more times. So you're usually getting 3 or 4 matches on a card. Sometimes you might be the only ref on a card and you ref 7 matches. So you're getting those amount of reps in, much quicker.
True. And I would argue, though, it comes down to quality over quantity as well, though, because I've been plenty of indie shows with referees been working 30 years and they're the worst fucking referees I've ever fucking worked with because they never had that 30 years of bullshit isn't any experience at all versus, 2 years of quality experience is a lot different, working with pros, working with people that know what the fuck's going on. So that's really what it comes down to, really, is more the quality of experience. But I'd say if you're working as a referee with good quality, with other good refs as well as other good workers, man, you work for 6 months, and I'd say you could really get a really strong, I think you could become a really good referee in 6 months if you're surrounded in the right environment, getting the right kind of feedback, and working with the right guys.
No doubt about that at all, man. I had one other point that I wanted to make on referees. It just went out of my head. Fuck, it was good too. It'll come back.
Well, I was going to wrap up some of the headlines here. We got a little extreme makeover, it seems. We were talking about social media use throughout the show. Looks like Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk from AEW, he wants to get in on this action of this brewing feud between Impact Wrestling and AEW. He was taken to social media and kind of called out the Good Brothers, saying, "Hey, you want a piece? You know where to find me, or I can come to the Impact Zone if you want." Archer also on social media.
I think Moose is the fucking way to go for Archer. Like the Good Brothers, that it just doesn't cross over from some Japan heat, maybe.
I was gonna say you have the tie in there from New Japan, where they had some things there. You had the different in the tag division. They had some things going on there. I think what's most surprising is he recently posted a photo where it looks like he might have cut his hair. We've got the red and the gold kind of in a pile on the floor there. Smart business, just going and changing the look like this, or they could have done some business here. MSG shared this with us before we went on the air, and even he had mentioned, I mean, why not put this hair on the line? Let's do some business somewhere if you're going to go ahead and change the look.
I can see what he's saying too, but at the same time, there's also something to be said about just changing up one's look too. I mean, if you're saying, "Oh, why didn't they do business? Put somebody over." Well, if his business is to get over his monster heel, putting someone over and letting him shave his head doesn't exactly do him any favors. Not that he's not doing himself any favors anyway. I think I saw a couple weeks ago a clip of him doing some kind of top rope backflip gimmick, and it's like, well, he's killing his own business anyway. But that being said, there's also comes down to as if I'm someone booking the show, is this someone that I want to at least to some degree, be a killer heel, having him getting tied down to get his head shaved, pretty much, you're needing to go be off TV and get repackaged after that versus.
Well, he could do it himself though. Like, say he takes a loss and he's driving himself crazy, and you have that inner monologue where he's looking in some old shitty mirror and he fucking does it himself to show that he's even more psycho.
Now that I like, yeah, more so than like a loser loses his hair, like right. More so like he's a monster and he happens to get a fluke loss. You know what I mean? That just drives him nuts. Yeah.
I was going to say on that ref thing, here's one thing, and I challenge everybody listening tonight because it will fuck you up, bro. And this is how Man Beast would do it, and that's what I showed to Sideburns. When you become a referee, like, how often do you watch wrestling matches and just watch the ref? Never, usually, right? You should be. Now, when you become a referee, watch wrestling and only watch the ref and watch how he's doing. Take the focus from the wrestlers and don't as the way you watch it. When you become a referee, it fucks you up, because even when I went from a fan to being a heel, I watch how the heels get all their heat and the cutoffs and this, that, or the other. I watch wrestling a specific way. Do you really want to take the enjoyment out of it? Make the referee your fucking host or your focus. And that's what Sideburns has been doing for the last 6 years. And that's why he's elevated his game too. Because we'll be watching something and he'll like, oh, fucking, Posey missed that one. And I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? He's like, oh, Posey had to do this and he should have been there. I'm like, that's my boy. He's fucking seeing where the ref needs to be position wise. He's looking at all these little things of, is he there on the fucking hop over count? Is he lined up with the shoulders the right way to see both shoulders be down or not? All these things are the small details that take you from just being, hey, I wear stripes and I'm in a wrestling match as an indie fuckface, to actually being like, dude, I'm going to fucking get a job with WWE and Impact, and I'm going to be as good as Kyoto, Hebner, all these fucking guys who set a standard. So I challenge people tonight on Raw, take one match and just watch the referee and watch the wrestlers fade away as you watch them do their job. It's an interesting way to watch wrestling, dude, no doubt about it. And you can't really do it until you're in the business doing it over and over and over again. And it takes that type of tape review, just like as a performer for a wrestler. If I'm going to go steal something from fucking Iron Sheik, fucking anybody who's done the ethnic gimmick ever, you know what I mean? Or any heels that I want to steal from, I'm going to look at those guys a certain way. They're Sideburns and those guys are doing tape review, just watching refs, man. Crazy.
I think, hey, we need something a different perspective of watching Raw anyway. So why not look at it from, the referee's viewpoint, and see if you can find something a little entertaining there. Beast, real quick, back to with Archer cutting his hair there. I mean, would it still be that much of, I guess, a kick to the junk for what your purpose is behind a monster like that, even if it came at the hands of somebody like Moose and a gang?
I mean, to me, in my head, he was leaving. Like, to me, that's something you do when someone is either getting ready to leave the territory, or you're getting ready to do like a big face turn, or put him up in a tag team. Like, something dramatic is about to shift for that character, So at that point, you're saying, okay, I'm going to take him off. Like, if you think of the wrestlers at certain spots on the card, this guy's a top level heel. Well, now after that, you've taken him from being a top level heel to maybe now he's a mid card tag team guy, or now he's a middle babyface. Not that you can't build him back up again, but to me, that's is a significant shift for the trajectory of that character once you do that. And to me, a lot of times that's something you would do at the end of their run. They're getting ready to leave the territory, or they're getting ready to take some time off, or something like that. Consequently, it could also be for some other kind of transition to where they're moving elsewhere on the card, again, whether it be as a babyface or as a tag team person, or something different.
I especially want to bring up the hair gimmick on today's show, because if you're out there listening, if you head on over to Facebook to the Hamin Media discussion group, I believe it's pinned there at the top of the page. You can see a star was born thanks to the hair gimmick. One the man beast, Ed McNailer, getting his head shaved by one CM Punk when he gave himself up to the good, virtuous life, the straight edge society. So you can go check that out over on Facebook and Hamin Media discussion group. Gentlemen, that's what I've got for the headlines this morning. Anything else you want to hit on?
Let me just bring up here. What did I have? Anything real quick? Brian Myers signs new contract. We'll get to that on Impact Attack. No plans for fans at Royal Rumble. TJ Wilson claims Bayley is the most improved wrestler he's ever seen. Holy shit. Ring of Honor signs a bunch of people, re-signs them. Cody gives an A+, right on. Nick Jackson speaks about COVID-19. He survived it. Eric Young claims Nikki Cross doesn't realize how good she is. Well, Steve Austin.
Someone tell her.
I did what not to mention that, and this was something that, a week ago from notes that I had down. Was that any kind of rib on Nikki to have her there next to Tori Wilson with that height difference, especially with Tori in those heels?
Could be, but I think Nikki Cross is an excellent worker, and I like the intensity she's shown. She got herself in solid shape. She was a little doughy too, and she really worked her ass off, only to be marginalized in this fucking Alexa Bliss thing where they don't even know where the fuck they're going with any of this stuff. So Alexa's with the Fiend, but meanwhile on Twitter she's posting selfies and shit all day. So you're fucked. They can put people over. Is Bayley a great fucking worker? Did you see what she just did on Stone Cold's fucking show where they all burn each other? You're not a great worker if you think that the way to get a rub from Stone Cold Steve Austin is going, ding dong, ding dong. That ain't the fucking, you're terrible at what we do. you don't understand what this business is. And they just taught you you're part of the factory meat grinder system post OVW, FCW, where everyone has to have a catchphrase, Randy Orton pose, a fucking specific stupid little thing that they do instead of being, it's the cookie cutter, bro. And that does not, I repeat, that does not make a great worker, not even a little bit, just because you go through the motions of what WWE's fucking asinine, developmental that they've bastardized OVW from. That doesn't mean you're over, you're good at this shit, not even in the littlest bit. She could be down there with Prince Devitt again, putting a fucking garbage can on her head, jumping off the fucking cage in another year. That's how good she really is. So give me a fucking break on that.
Ding dong.
The only somebody who is good and is really great at character is a free agent right now. So I'm interested to see if he'll show up in AEW. I got a feeling he will. But Dalton Castle, even though ROH has been,
I actually had that on there. I wasn't sure how familiar you were with his work.
Oh, dude, he's my OVW brother. I watched the whole Party Peacock thing, and we can talk about this little heat right here, but not because I love Dalton and I love Paradise Jimmy too. I think they're both fucking phenomenal creative minds who have unlimited potential and possibility in what they want to produce in their lifetime. But and not to say two gimmicks don't cross over. They're two guys who are flamboyantly the same. But Dalton Castle, when I first got to 2CW, was just a kind of a utility mid-card guy wearing trunks who could go out there and give you a 20-minute awesome fucking match, bro. Like, he can work with anybody. His stuff's clean, safe, and he was working kind of like Mr. Perfect in a way, in how good he was. It wasn't until he started wearing a gold lame jumpsuit, Elvis style, that it kind of clicked. And this is before he had any of the Party Peacock stuff. He started with that and changed it up, and 2CW fans loved him for it. And then we added the boys with the fucking Mardi Gras masks and made it a little queer. And they would come and he'd unzip his thing, they'd hold it, and he'd step out of it and fucking start doing that. Then at that same time, we had Totally Awesome, which is the Chris Silvio, and Jimmy Paradise, who's now probably lead producer at NXT and at Impact as well. You've heard me talk about him plenty. But they had broken up, and he went the flamboyant way, and he was Paradise, which was almost identical Party Peacock stuff to what before Dalton was doing it. So did Dalton see that, take it, and fucking make it his own? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't asked Dalton straight up, but I would have liked to see those guys tag together, but Jimmy went another way and got the job with Impact, and he didn't need to be on camera anymore. And Dalton took that, and then he made the big fucking cape with the whole show is Dalton's entrance with the boys sitting on him as like a chaise lounge or whatever. When the bell rings, it doesn't mean anything, because what happens? Dalton's whole thing in the match is to get him to do a fucking Furley take and look at you. You know what I mean? So Dalton went from a guy taking a lot of bumps to get other dudes over to going, I'm getting over in my entrance. I'm getting over with this spot where I do a fucking take and look at you, and the crowd gets over. Unfortunately, he's been plagued by some injuries in ROH, but that's a guy whose character, he don't need no belt.
Well, it was a lot to do with, he had that incredible run as the Ring of Honor champion, and you listen to him throughout that run. He wanted to let people know it was more about, he was more than the entrance. So he was a workhorse during that championship run. Unfortunately, he was working with like a broken back during a good portion of that thing, and the long-term effects. He's feeling it now. He's never really kind of recovered from the thing for the in-ring work.
Welcome to professional wrestling, bro. You get your shot, and if you're fucking hurt, guys will bring themselves out of fucking ICU to make that match because they worked 15 years to get that fucking spot. And we kayfabe injuries from the office because we don't want to be taken off the road. And that's at the fucking. Now, guys, I'm not saying Dalton, but this in the 80s, guys are taking fistful of pills to fucking kayfabe that so they can stay on because somebody wants their fucking spot, right? So that don't surprise me that Dalton had a broken back in ROH style because somebody wants to do some dumb shit instead of fucking play to his Party Peacock style and then go to the back and go, fuck, bro, we didn't have to do nothing. I didn't take one bump. Yeah, did you hear him fucking cheering the whole fucking time and all that when I kissed you in the corner and da-da-da-da? Meanwhile, everybody else dive, 450, knees up, kick out, fucking vertebraker through a fucking table, kick out. Come out and wave some fucking party peacock shit and kiss a fucking young boy on his cheek is more over on the show. People will fucking remember it, bro. So Dalton gets it fully, and he's definitely done good business for a lot of people who are in AEW as stars right now. And I think he will fit in there and shine brighter than almost anybody else because Dalton Castle fully gets it. And he's a professional radio DJ, so he's got more than 10,000 hours in on the mic to cut any promo that you want him to. He can outshine almost anybody.
I would think if you're looking at a promotion that desperately needs him, and I think he could go right into the main event scene in NXT and then transition into a trainer role as well.
I agree, but his buddy, I mean, nobody's got like any heat with Dalton that I know of. But I think I'd like to see him in AEW over NXT. I just don't trust anything right on there, especially after fucking Russo has neck fuse surgery, and then they're giving him goddamn crunch off the fucking top of the cage table.
Hold on, Ben. You're going robotic.
Check.
Are we losing? I guess we lost Ben here for a minute. The host of the chat room and the host of the show. He's coming back.
Anything? No, hold on. Check 1, 2. Anything better than that or no?
Yeah, you're back.
All right. I just think that, at NXT where they took Tommaso, who's had neck surgery, and then they got him with Adam Cole doing a kryptonite crunch off the top of the cage through a goddamn table, kick out. That's the last thing I want to see for a Dalton Castle level character. You know what I mean? Maybe something with Velveteen Dream, but he's marginalized too. But, Dalton, I think would be better suited. Not that AEW's, I mean, they're doing A quality work over at AEW. It's all A+ stuff.
Dalton Castle be that A+ player that they're looking for at All Elite.
I think so, man. Maybe he would lead a stable. He could do something with Sonny Kiss. I think he could help get Sonny Kiss over.
Yep. Be good.
So
maybe some kind of infighting between Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, and then, Dalton Castle's the new, bell at the ball, so to speak. And
love it.
There you go.
I like to just see those two like out clubbing, looking for a new set of boys.
Why not? But there's tons of guys, there's tons of opportunity to get other guys shine based off of that, and that's really what Dalton's Castle was his gimmick was excellent at, and facilitating multiple people to get on TV. Even if you're dressed like, a queer twink in a fucking Mardi Gras mask, who gives a fuck? You got to be part of the stage picture because the rest of the time you were just on ring crew.
The All Elite Adonis, the modern day Adrian Adonis.
I agree completely, dude, and stepped up in a time where it's not faggot chants and all this other stuff that's hate speech. It's like, okay, we get, that we live in a society where anyone can identify as whatever they want. And what did he identify as? A party peacock. Okay. I like that, man. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm he, she, him, they, whatever pronoun shit. It's just like, the party peacock. You can't deny that. Like, what are you going to say? You're not a party peacock? Look at the guy. So big shout out Dalton Castle, my 2CW brother, man. And another guy who's probably hurting really bad because of Brody Lee's passing. I know they were close to.
Nice. Beast, any other big stories you want to touch on?
Not off the top of my head that I can think of. It already hitting 2021. Things are off to a hot start. but yeah, I don't think so. But yeah,
you killed it. You got a lot of milk to drink today.
I know. Fuck. Too much.
There we go.
At least it's a cold day. Never fun drinking milk on a hot day.
Well, gentlemen, that'll do it for the headlines, man. If you want to send it home.
Yeah, Allah, man. Another big week ahead. Super pumped for all the opportunities and all the interactivity. We're still working on getting Twitch set up again. And, all these great brands from Stevie Ray to Rip's brand, the new Hustler Rip Rogers FR podcast out on patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Thanks to Ted, the Trailer McNailer himself, going out there, getting it done and getting a ticket. So he has some good talk about how to get out of tickets if you're a wrestler, and some some more great road stories all the way around from the Hustler. Forward to next week.
Apparently, Roddy Piper was known for getting out of some tickets, as Rip Rogers elaborates on the podcast. Unfortunately, I admittedly am no Roddy Piper, and as such was not able to get out of mine.
But yeah, it was fun listening to that yesterday, doing my workout, man. Stevie Richards Fitness, a lot of people signing up really all right in the beginning of the year here. Let's just keep that momentum going so we don't fall off, and we can make sure 2021 we're healthy, wealthy, and wise, mind, body, and spirit, if you're into that kind of thing. What else going on today, man? I'm going to get a massage at 2:00. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, it's about time to relax. My sleep's been way off. So I'm not sure if it's because there's an alignment of Saturn, Mercury, and the moon and Jupiter coming up. There's all kinds of weird Planet X celestial things going on. I'm sure we'll talk about that on the Conspiracy Horseman this week. I won't be doing a Raw watch along. I'll be over at Sideburns practicing my putting. And we'll be back here, though. You guys keep it locked. Hacker Hamin Media Group. The watch hours are going up on that YouTube. So please subscribe to everything we got going on. Keep an eye on StevieRayTV. And if you guys got anything, hit me up at @bin_Hamin, and maybe I'll respond, infidels, as I work on these 3D printers. It's RBV. It's Dr. T. It's been Hamin Egger, infidels, and we're going to be here. hackerhamin.podbean.com. All free media all the time, infidels. Yalla.